We do need to move on to doom scroll because, we like to check out social media, read the internet, so you don't have to. You don't have to hunt around on your feed. We will bring you the good stories. And what is a better story than an NBA player who I'm sure has so much trouble finding action, finally getting a date, right? Isn't that lovely, Boogie, that finally an NBA player out there?
Shout out to Grant, man.
That's right, Grant Williams. We all saw him earlier this season. In fact, it was in September when he tried to shoot his shot. Mavericks player, of course, went to a Dallas Wings playoff game and was hugging and talking to Satou Sabally after the game. There's video of this. You can see in the video, and of course, the internet never fails. A bunch of people were looking at the bottom of the video where you can see his hand outstretched, and you can see the face of his phone, and the contacts were open to a new contact on his phone, clearly to get her number, right? So you see this happen. They're hugging, they're chatting. And this week, the Mavericks posted a photo of Williams walking into the arena, one of those sort of, catwalk type things. The guys are walking in, and the tweet talked about how good he looked. And Sabally pipes in on Twitter and said, well, he got my number. So props to Grant. I'm happy for both of them. Props to her, right? Like, that's good. I love a little romance in the air.
Wasn't familiar with your game, Brent. That's
I know, man.
Happy for you, Grant, for sure.
Sometimes you got to put yourself out there. It's all good. There were also several tweets and IG posts this week reminding people that In Living Color is actually responsible for there being big Super Bowl halftime shows. Are you familiar with this, Boogie? Do you know the story?
I don't, actually.
This is true story. This is incredible. That Super Bowl halftime shows, and I want to read this because I want to get it right. This is what Super Bowl halftime shows used to be. And it's crazy because it's not like you and I didn't watch the Super Bowl growing up, but I don't remember this. The halftime show in 1988 featured people jazzercising. That was the halftime show. In 1989, they had a magician dressed up as Elvis Presley. That was the halftime show. His name, by the way, for the record, was Elvis Presto. They had actors dressed as characters from the Peanuts, just running around the field in 1990. So this used to be what the halftime show was, kind of like NBA halftimes during the regular season, when they just have sort of people there to entertain the fans in the arena. Everyone else is watching TV, goes to the bathroom, does whatever. So Fox, which was a younger network at the time, decided that they wanted to maybe take advantage of the fact that the halftime show was such a dud there. And they started to cook up this idea that maybe they could counter-program the Super Bowl. And this had never been done before. Every network that wasn't broadcasting the Super Bowl prior to this had just been like, okay, we're basically putting bars up on the TV for these 4 hours, because what's the point? And Fox, who was a little bit of a rebel in the game at that point, decided that they could maybe get some viewers. Apparently, Damon Wayans was part of this decision going to them, and an executive sort of was noodling around with it. And so both of them had the idea and sort of went forward here. And in 1992, they heavily promoted In Living Color was going to do a special sort of guerrilla episode right when the halftime show started, right when the teams broke for halftime, and they go right up into, they promise we will return you to the game. We will end right before halftime. They know when the game is going to restart. As I said, the Wayans brothers, Jim Carrey, I mean, I don't have to tell people, who was on the show. I mean, it was an incredible moment. And they did it. And man, they got 11% of the Super Bowl viewership that year to switch over. And considering the Super Bowl viewership that year was 80 million people, that's crazy. And it became legendary that they did this guerrilla broadcast. And of course, what did the NFL do the next year once this challenge was laid out? They got Michael Jackson to be the halftime show.
Not mad at that.
I remember that show and the spectacle and all of that stuff. And it's funny, I don't really remember a halftime show before that. Now I know why, but isn't that crazy?
That's sick. Yeah, I'll never complain about another halftime show because I would be upset watching Elvis Presto. I'll be honest about it.
So while y'all are watching Usher on Sunday, just be grateful to the In Living Color crew because they are the reason you have good stuff to watch. That's all I'm saying. Give them credit. As you said, Bug, earlier, give the culture some credit, right?
Get a culture some credit, man. Please.